The sun should have set hours ago, but it hadn't. Mara's car tore down the empty highway, chasing a horizon that refused to fade. The sky burned gold, then red, then gold again, as if time itself was stuck between breaths. Her hands trembled on the steering wheel. The world around her was silent, too silent. No birds, no wind, no sound but her own heartbeat and the faint whisper from the radio saying, "Keep driving west, do not stop now." What was she chasing? Or worse, what was chasing her? Every mile brought her closer to something beyond the sunset, something waiting in the light. Watch till the end to uncover what she finds when the sun finally stops running. The sun was bleeding into the horizon. Amber and crimson spilled across the sky, fading fast. Mara gripped the steering wheel tighter. Her knuckles were white, her pulse louder than the engine's hum. She pressed harder on the gas. The car roared, slicing through the empty highway. The western sky still glowed, but the light was slipping away. She whispered to herself, "Just a little farther." The radio had stopped working 2 hours ago. Now, only the wind filled the silence, howling through a cracked window. It smelled like dust, oil, and the faint sweetness of burning fields. Her eyes stung. Her throat was dry, but she could not stop. Not yet. The sunset had always been their thing. Every evening, she and Daniel would sit on the roof and watch the colors melt. He said the sky was proof that endings could still be beautiful. That was before the accident. Mara blinked back tears, but they blurred her vision anyway. The road shimmered, wavy and endless. Somewhere in her chest, the ache deepened. The GPS on her phone flickered. Signal lost. Then again, and again. She was driving west. Always west. Chasing a light that kept running from her. Then she saw it. A shape in the middle of the road. Small. Still. She slammed the brakes. The tire screamed. The world jerked. Her heart froze. It was a child. A boy, standing barefoot on the asphalt, watching her approach. He did not move. He did not blink. Mara opened the door slowly. Heat from the road rose like invisible smoke. "Are you hurt?" she called out, her voice trembling. The boy tilted his head. The sunlight framed him like a shadow on fire. "You cannot catch it," he said softly. "What?" she whispered. "The sun. It already left you." The wind shifted. She felt it cold, sudden wrong. When she looked back at her car, the headlights were still on, but the driver's seat was empty. Her knees weakened. Her breath hitched. She stepped back, staring. Her reflection in the glass was gone. The boy smiled faintly, and behind him, the horizon pulsed, as if the sun were rising again. But the light was not warm. It was red, too red. Mara felt her body go still, as if the air itself held her in place. The boy reached out a hand. "Drive west," he said, "and maybe you can catch what you lost." Her voice cracked. "What happens if I do?" He did not answer. He just pointed to the horizon, where the sun should have died, but something else was burning instead. Mara took one slow step forward, and then another. She reached for the car door. The engine was still running. The radio had turned itself back on. A faint voice came through the static. Her own. "Keep driving west. Do not stop now." Her eyes widened. Her pulse thundered. She stepped inside. The boy was gone. The sky above was darker now, but the horizon still shimmered, like the sun had not finished setting. Mara gripped the wheel again. She pressed the pedal. The car moved forward. The light grew stronger, warmer, closer, and then the light ahead grew brighter. Too bright. It swallowed the shadows, turning the road into molten gold. Mara's eyes burned, but she could not look away. Something inside her whispered, "Do not stop. Not yet." The air grew thick, heavy like syrup. The car's engine rattled, then purred again, steady and strong. Every mile felt unreal. The sky refused to darken. She glanced at the clock. 7:46 p.m. She drove for what felt like hours. But when she looked again, 7:46 p.m., her breath hitched. Time had stopped. Outside, the sun hung motionless on the horizon, a perfect circle of fire suspended over the earth. The colors did not fade. They pulsed, alive. Then came the smell. Familiar, haunting, burnt rubber. gasoline, and beneath it, metal and blood. Her hands began to tremble. "No," she whispered, but the sound of the crash replayed in her head. The shattering glass, the scream, Daniel's scream. She pressed her palms to her ears. "Stop it," the radio hissed. Then a voice, low, distorted, but gentle. "Mara, turn around." Her heart stuttered. That voice. It was him. Daniel. No answer. Only static. Then laughter, faint, childlike. The boy's voice. "You went too far," he said through the static. "You try to make it longer. But you forgot what happens when the sun never sets." The road ahead shimmered. It was no longer asphalt. It was glass. And beneath it, dark water. Mara slammed the brakes, but the car did not slow. It glided forward weightless. Her reflection stared back at her from the glass road. Only it was not her. The woman in the reflection was smiling. Calm. Peaceful. Her hair was dry. Her face unscarred. Mara felt tears spill over. "I just wanted more time," she whispered. "I just wanted to stay in the light a little longer." The reflection's lips moved, mouthing her words, then spoke aloud softly. "You already did. You never left the road." The glass below her cracked, a thin line running straight beneath her tires. Then another, and another. The light flickered. The horizon trembled. The sun was sinking now, fast. Mara's chest tightened. Her heartbeat thundered in her ears. The boy's voice echoed again, closer this time, right behind her. "If you want to go back," he said, "you have to remember what really happened." Her hands froze on the wheel. Her breath caught in her throat. The air turned icy cold. She looked into the rearview mirror. There, sitting in the back seat, was Daniel, but his eyes were closed, and blood trickled down his temple. The boy stood beside the car, his face unreadable. "The sun sets for everyone," he whispered, "but not everyone lets it go." Mara's scream was lost in the roar of the collapsing light. The world bent around her, the sun imploding into shadow and flame. Then silence. Only her heartbeat, and the faint hum of an engine that should not still be running. In the mirror, Daniel's eyes slowly opened. He looked right at her. "Mara," he said, "do you remember now?" Her voice trembled. What did I do?" He did not answer. He only smiled, and the sun began to rise. From the wrong side of the sky, the sunrise came from the east. But this light came from everywhere. It poured over the horizon, through the windshield, through the seams of the car, filling every shadow with gold that hurt to look at. Mara shielded her eyes. Her pulse hammered. Daniel was still in the mirror, unmoving now, his gaze steady, sorrowful. "Daniel," she whispered, "please say something." He tilted his head slightly, the way he used to when he was thinking. Then he spoke, softly, as if afraid the words might break her. "You should not have kept driving." Her throat tightened. "But you told me to keep going." The voice on the radio. His expression darkened. "That was not me." The air around her grew heavy, humming with unseen static. Every sound, the wind, the tires, her breath, slowed, stretched, distorted. Mara's eyes darted to the horizon. The world ahead was melting. Buildings, trees, clouds, dripping like wet paint. She pressed the brake, but her foot passed straight through the pedal. She gasped. The steering wheel felt hollow, unreal beneath her hands. "Daniel, what is happening to me?" He blinked once, and suddenly he was sitting beside her. No sound, no movement, just there. His skin was pale as the fading light. His voice barely a whisper. "You are not supposed to be here." The road twisted, curling upward into the sky like a ribbon of glass. Mara's stomach dropped as the car climbed the impossible slope. "Not supposed to be here," she cried. "I'm just driving. I'm trying to find you." Daniel looked straight ahead. "You already did." The road leveled out, but there was nothing ahead. Only a sea of light, vast, endless, and silent. The car rolled to a stop. The radio turned itself on again. Static. Then the same faint child's voice. "The boy." She would not stop, he said, almost laughing. She wanted to see the sun forever. Mara's chest tightened. The voice of the boy came from everywhere now. The air vents, the dashboard, the sky. "I told her the truth," he said. "You cannot drive west forever. At some point, the road ends. And when it does." Daniel turned to her. eyes glistening. She finds out where she really is. The light outside thickened, curling into shapes, faces, hands, outlines of distant things. They looked like people, people frozen in motion. Her breath caught. Their eyes were all turned west. "Daniel, what are they?" He did not answer. He only reached out, placing a cold hand over hers. The light around him began to fade. His voice cracked as he whispered, "They're the ones who could not let go." Mara's eyes filled with tears. Her pulse slowed. The car began to sink into the glowing road. Not falling, absorbed. Her reflection appeared again in the windshield. But this time it smiled. A calm, eerie smile. "You wanted to lengthen the sunset," it said softly. "And you did." The car vanished into the golden light. The horizon pulsed once, then went still. And somewhere, the boy whispered again, another one trying to outrun the night. The world went silent. Then, a faint hum. An engine starting. A woman's voice on the radio. "Keep driving west. Do not stop now." The engine's hum was faint at first, distant, almost unreal. Then it grew louder, closer, as if awakening from somewhere deep beneath the earth. Mara opened her eyes. She was still behind the wheel, but the car was not moving. Everything was bathed in a pale, golden glow. Not sunlight, not moonlight. Something in between. The road outside was gone. She sat in a vast, empty plain, the ground shimmering like glass dust. No wind, no sound, just that impossible glow, pulsing faintly in time with her heartbeat. She touched her chest. It was still beating, slow but steady. Then she heard it. Footsteps, soft, deliberate, approaching from behind. Mara turned slowly. The boy was there again, only older now. His eyes were hollow, his smile gone. In his hand, he held something small and shining. A rearview mirror. He placed it on the hood of the car. "You were not supposed to hear that voice," he said quietly. "It is how the road keeps you." Mara's voice was raw. Where am I?" He did not answer at first. He only looked up to the horizon. It was still glowing red and gold. The same sunset, the same one she had been chasing. "It never ends here," he whispered. "The ones who drive west keep the light alive. They think they are running from darkness, but they are feeding it instead." Mara shook her head, tears streaking her face. "I just wanted to see him again. I did not care how far I had to go." The boy nodded slowly. He did see him. Her breath caught. "What do you mean?" He turned the mirror toward her. "Look." She leaned forward. Her reflection looked back at her, but not the same. Her eyes were brighter, glowing faintly like molten amber. Behind her reflection, Daniel was smiling, resting a hand on her shoulder. Alive. Whole. Her heart leapt, but when she turned around, no one was there. Only the soft whisper of the wind that should not exist. "Do you see now?" the boy murmured. "The road gave you what you wanted, but it took everything else." The mirror began to tremble in his hand. Cracks spread across its surface, and from within the cracks came whispers. Dozens of voices, familiar and strange. Mara covered her ears. The whispers grew louder. Her own voice was among them, pleading, crying, looping endlessly. "Keep driving west. Do not stop now." She screamed. The mirror shattered. The sound echoed across the plain like thunder. The glow around her flickered, dimming for the first time. And beneath the light, she saw shadows. Roads, endless and overlapping, twisting through the void. Each one glowing faintly. Each one with a car, still moving, still chasing. Her voice trembled. "What are they?" The boy looked away. "The ones who never stopped." She turned back toward her car. The radio light was blinking again. Only one word flickered on the small digital screen. Rewind. Mara stared at it, then at the horizon. The sunset was waiting, still golden, still warm. Her fingers hovered over the ignition. The boy stepped closer. "If you turn on," he said, "the road begins again." Her tears fell silently. "Will I see him?" He looked at her, sadness in his eyes too deep for words. "You will, but you will forget everything else." The radio clicked once. A soft voice whispered through the static. "Mara, it is not too late. Just turn around." She froze. That voice, her own again, but older, warned. A warning. Her hand trembled on the key. Between her fingers, The light seemed to breathe. Gold, red gold again. "Turn it off," said the voice, "or the sunset will never end." The boy stared at her. Decide. The car engine shuddered. The horizon pulsed like a living thing. And Mara, caught between the light and the dark, whispered, "I do not know which one of us is still alive." The wind stopped. Everything went silent. Then, from far away, the faint rumble of another engine. Someone else driving west. The sound of that distant engine faded into nothing. The air stilled again. Only the faint golden light remained, softer now, like the final glow of dusk resting upon calm water. Mara closed her eyes. For the first time, she did not feel the pull of the horizon. No urge to chase. No hunger for the sun. Only quiet. The boy stood beside her, silent, watching. His face no longer looked strange or ageless, only kind. He spoke softly. "You can let it rest now." Mara looked toward the horizon. The light that had once burned fierce and endless was dimming gently, folding into shades of rose, violet, and blue. It was a sunset again, a real one. And it was beautiful. A warm wind passed through her hair, carrying the faint scent of rain and earth. It felt familiar, like the night Daniel had taken her hand and whispered, "Even endings can be gentle if you let them." Her eyes filled with tears, not from pain, but from understanding. The light had never been something to chase. It had been something to release. She turned to the boy. "Thank you," she said softly. He smiled, small and sad. And as the final threads of sunlight slipped away, his shape dissolved into the golden air, becoming part of the light itself. Mara took a deep breath. The car, the road, the shimmering horizon, all of it faded, like ripples vanishing into still water. She stood in a quiet field now, barefoot in the cool grass. The sky above was twilight blue. A single star flickered to life. She lifted her gaze to it, and for the first time since the crash, she felt no fear of the dark. It was not an ending. It was a return. She smiled through her tears. The last light kissed her skin and whispered its farewell. Soft, forgiving, eternal. Then gently, the night embraced her.